This is something that we make quite often, and it's called Spiedies. It's basically marinated meat that's cooked on the grill and on some skewers. And the Spiedie sauce actually originated from the Binghamton area, New York area, I think, in the late 1970s. And from there, it started to spread throughout New York. But this is the original sauce that we always buy and use. Some will call it marinated meat or whatever, but we have done them with both chicken and beef. So today I'm doing a batch with chicken. We freeze and vacuum pack all our chicken. We buy it in big packs and break them up later. And you just have to get it out and clean it up a little bit. Take some of the little edges and fat off that's left on it there. Get it ready to slice up. Now you can also do these with beef, and they come out just as good. So I'm just cutting the chicken up into pretty much as even the sized chunks as I can with chicken. It's it's kind of tough to get everything perfect, but it helps if it's still a little bit frozen too. Now you have to do this 24 hours in advance of when you're going to cook it. So this is started the day before. You have to marinate it overnight. So basically I got all the chicken cubed up there, and I'm just going to take that bottle of the Spiedie sauce and shake it up good before I pour it in there. And I'm just going to pour it in the bowl and let everything marinate overnight. This is a pretty big batch. A lot of times we'll do batches half this size, but we wanted to eat them for a couple days, so we figured we'd do a large batch. And then I'm just going to make sure everything's kind of submerged in the sauce there, so it all gets pulled into it while it's marinating. And a little close to the top edge of the bowl, so I'm just putting a plastic wrap on to seal it so it doesn't get spilled in the refrigerator, because the old Corning lid there had a couple cracks in it, so can't be too careful. And the next morning we're going to cook, and my wife gets ready to make the sauce for them. It's kind of like a takeoff from the Tzatziki sauce that's used on gyros. And basically we use have to get a good Greek yogurt that's nice and thick for the base, and nothing's really measured. She just kind of puts half a container full of the yogurt in a bowl to start out with. And then you need some cucumbers. So these are the ones we have left this time of the year. All the pickling cucumbers, the plants are dead, and they're all gone. And we have these Japanese cucumbers that actually will last right up till frost now. So that's what we're using. And you have to peel them to start out with. You don't want the peels in this. And then what she's going to do is just kind of quarter the sections of it and go back and take out the seeds. So there it is, cut up, and you don't want any seeds in the sauce, so just cut it up into pieces and make sure you get them all out of there. And then just go back and just kind of coarsely chop it up there so that you can still taste it in the sauce. So that was a little over half a cucumber. Now, like I said, nothing's measured. She just kind of throws it in a bowl and then tastes it, goes back and modifies it, which I'll show you later. Then a couple cloves of garlic are going to go in there. This is our homegrown garlic that we picked a couple weeks ago. So we're just going to take that, peel it, and kind of chop it up and mince it pretty finely. And add that to the bowl. And then next, if you're making the tzatziki sauce, you use a mint to go in there. But we like this sauce to have the dill flavor, so we just went out and picked a couple fresh young pieces of dill that were just, growing from the leftover seeds there. And we're going to throw some of that in there. And she's going to throw in a couple tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil there. And then she's just going to put in a little bit of a tablespoonful or two of the red wine vinegar, give it a little bit of flavor. And then lastly, you throw in a little bit of kosher salt. And as you can see, you just kind of going by eye and just throwing a little bit of this and a little bit of that in the bowl. And basically that's it. You just have to mix it up and taste it. And she said, nope, needs more cucumber, because these Japanese cucumbers don't have quite as much flavor as the regular ones. And these are the flatbreads that we're going to be putting them on. We picked up. So she got that extra cucumber mixed in there now, and finally tasting it again. And this time it's got the seal of approval, so that's all ready to go. So while she had the counter dirty, she decided to bread up some of the leftover eggplants and green tomatoes that we've picked, and we fried them up and had a real nice snack. Now, this is later that night. I'm getting ready to get the grill going, and I'm running low on that good professional charcoal now, so I'm kind of mixing it with the cheap Home Depot stuff, putting half a bin of each one in there to cook it with. They both cook about the same, but the professional one does last longer and is warmer. And a couple pieces of newspaper in the chimney there, and I just light that up, and got to give that a couple of minutes to get going. And it does make a stinky smoke when you first light that stuff up. But back inside to start putting them together. Now we've soaked some wooden skewers there in a tray of water for a couple hours now, so they don't catch on fire. And it's just time to start filling up the skewers and try to get pretty close, pieces that are about the same size on the same skewers. And that way it's a little easier to get everything to cook evenly and not have to overcook the smaller chunks. So it's it does take a while to slide all them on skewers, but it really does smell great. It's a great sauce to use. And the charcoal is still burning off there and getting ready while the skewers are going together. And here we have the last one, and that's what we wound up with. Couple more minutes for the charcoal, and then I'll dump it in there, and got the grill all cleaned up. I'm just gonna spread the charcoal out and one layer in the grill there. Just kind of we cook these direct heat over the charcoal. And then the grate's still dirty from the last time, as always, so I just heat it up a little bit, and then got this brush that I go back with. I know you're not supposed to use these wire brushes, but I haven't found anything that works quite as well, so what I do is I just go over good with the brush, once everything gets off and burned off. And then I have a old cotton t-shirt that I just go back through and wipe it good to make sure there's no splinters of the metal brush left on there. And then it's time to just give it a couple more minutes to warm up. So now it's time to put the Spiedies on the grill there, and basically I try to put the thicker ones over the hotter sections of the grill, and the smaller ones with the smaller pieces on it over on the side a little bit so they don't overcook. And get them all on the grill and give them a couple minutes, and I'll go back and start to move them around and see what's cooking, and just kind of keep an eye on them, make sure that they kind of cook evenly, because they do cook fairly quick, so you have to make sure you don't really dry them out and stuff. So I'll go back and a couple times I'll look at them over the course of cooking there. Now you can see they're starting to get a little brown. They don't really get that brown because they've been marinating so much, but the smaller ones are getting near cooked, and the thicker ones are a little bit behind. And then, before you eat them, you have to go through and check everything. And I'll check a couple of the larger pieces on each skewer just to, make sure that it's up to the 165 temperature. And here it wasn't, so I just kind of, let it cook for a little while longer, and then went back and just started checking them until they got up to temperature. And then it was time to just throw on the flatbreads to heat them up. So after they start to brown up and get a little crispy on one side, I'll just flip them over, and 2 minutes later everything's all done and ready to come off, go in the house and eat. They sure do smell good right about at this point. So there they are. They're all cooked up, ready to go. nice tasty little morsels of chicken. And I'm going to start by, putting my sandwich together here and put a real good layer of that Tzatziki type sauce on there. And I'm just going to take 2 skewers of the chicken. That's about all I can fit on this one. And just spread them on there. And a couple slices of tomatoes. These were fresh picked from the garden. It's kind of near the end of the season now, so there's not many left. And then this is some fresh picked fall lettuce that we just picked, and that's basically my my dinner ready to go. I'm just gonna stick a thing through there to try to hold it while I take a picture of it. And it does get messy eating it. Some of it'll leak out and stuff, but I just thought I'd share this. I don't know if everybody's ever tried these Spiedies, but they are really good and tasty, and you can do them in, like beef or chicken. So, hopefully you'll give them a try. The tough part is finding the sauce if you're not in New York. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.